everybody. Welcome back to RBL Weekly, the show where we look at the top 5 battles from around the Roast Battle League. Already?
It feels like a morning show.
It is. I mean, some people watch it in the morning.
Roast Battle fans. Good morning, Chicago.
I miss digits. I never thought I would say that, but I miss digits. What's up? This is Doug Fager. He's co-hosting today. I was going to say nice things, but I'm already kind of sick of them.
It's Pat's birthday. It's his 40th birthday today. That's why we brought balloons. Happy birthday, baby boy. I've had a rough week. I had a little heartbreak this week. My best friend is also on the slow road to death. That's you, because you're 40. You know what? You don't want.
All right, the number 5 battle this week. No, yeah. Do you want to tell us about? I feel like who's Comics Unleashed? Who's that guy?
Byron Allen. Yeah.
So I understand you've had a little bit of heartbreak recently, Doug. Do you want to tell us about that?
No, I haven't written a bit that I've been working for 15 years, and I'm gonna use on late night NBC.
So I understand dating is hard.
Yeah, dating.
I wouldn't want to give potential. You got a big battle coming up.
I do.
After 10 years of roast battle.
Yeah.
You're finally getting a title shot.
Yeah.
Against Kelsey
About
Lane.
fucking time.
May 30th.
About fucking time. Who's booking these things? It's about goddamn
long overdue. We made you work for it.
Yeah,
You're finally getting it. And I don't want... Because I know the heartbreak you're referring to, and if we put all that out there, you'd have no shot.
No shot. No. Destroyed. Yeah. So, yeah. If you were going to put the over-under on me crying in the past 2 days constantly, are you taking the over or the under?
Hard over.
Over, for sure. Yeah, 100%. You nailed it. Also, I'm going to fuck Kelsey Lane up. Just know that. Is Kelsey Lane watching? I'm going to fuck you.
And if you don't,
I shouldn't have ended there. That was a weird place to. It was a very rapey place to. No, yeah. I just want somebody to hold me.
Yeah, no, I get that. So you've been going through it. You've been crying a lot.
Oh my god, dude, so much. Actually, less this. There's enough crying.
Sure.
Yeah. But that's why we roast. That's why. No, it's good to be here because, fuck, sometimes the roast battle and, jokes are, they're the thing that get you through.
Yeah.
And, this is the thing that makes me happy.
Right.
And it's writing jokes. It's telling jokes. It's hanging out with buddies. It's busting fucking balls. And so when you are going through a heartbreak, something like this is exactly what I need, and I don't think I'm alone. I mean, I am alone now, but
that's the root of the problem. Yeah.
But luckily, I got some. I got jokes.
It's so funny to watch you go through something so serious with a bright blue balloon over your shoulder.
Happy birthday, baby boy.
Appreciate that. And I love that you're like, this is my escape from the horrors of the reality that are my life. I'm gonna go watch 2 people in Barcelona call each other fat and ugly.
Yeah, well. It's better than crying in my room. So.
Well, you haven't seen the battle yet.
That's true. That's true.
No, the battles are actually really good this week. Really, really good. Especially the top 3. I was blown away by the quality. And it's become a theme. We were saying the same thing last week and then the week before. It's like when we were doing this thing a year ago with 7 cities, we were lucky to get 5 battles. And we were lucky, frankly, to get 2 good ones. And now I feel like every week we're pumping out 5 quality battles and at least 2 or 3 just absolute bangers.
Yeah, it's exciting as people who started kind of at the beginning of this whole thing, seeing it really go worldwide and live up to what it is in the belly room.
Yeah.
I think we thought for a long time that we had a stranglehold on what was good roasting, and in the belly room, that's where you do it, and it's just not true. There's so much fantastic roasting all across. I was blown away too.
Well, at the end of the episode, we're going to get into the standings, and I want to talk about that because I feel like I don't want to say there's a complete shift in the belly room and the Comedy Store kind of being the top of the mountain to all of a sudden going to the bottom of the mountain. But I feel like we have struggled to put on like classic battles this year like we did in the past, and like we're seeing now out of an Austin or Chicago or New York or London or any of these other cities. It feels like, and I bring this up because you're battling there for the title on May 30th. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's been a minute since we've had one of those old school type of battles where the room is just on fire the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what it looks like is happening when I watch some of these videos. It's like it feels like the Belly Room at its, in its heyday. And the Belly Room is still great. You should come to that show. It is a fantastic show. Yeah. And it will be on May 30th. But yeah, seeing it, you can see the hunger and the love of the battles, and like when we got started, we were hungry for it. We loved it. And everybody in the scene could not wait for Tuesday night. And you were gauging yourself against your peers. Everybody was writing jokes all week, all the time. And it was like, it was all we talked about. It was all we thought about. And now, like, you can see that catching fire all over the place.
Yeah, we just had the Chicago guys out here, and I bring this up because there's no Chicago battle this week, so I just want to bring it up top. They came out here. We did a Jam in the Van event, which, by the way, the deal we have with Jam in the Van, they get first dibs on the footage, and they put it out 2 months after the battle happens, and they have full battles available on YouTube. You can go search for on Jam in the Van's channel. It's not helping us in the standings, because we are not using those battles, and we have had some absolute classics coming out of that building over the last couple of months. We had a couple when we battled the Bay last month, and then LA versus Chicago this month. It was crazy.
Oh, you were the triumphant return of Pat Barker.
Sure.
You crushed it.
A lot of fun. And then I know you weren't there for this past one, but Digits versus Gabriel Alviso, who is basically Chicago Digits, was just everything I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. No.
So keep an eye out for those battles. That's not going to help us here, but it's definitely worth watching. And they're doing big numbers on Instagram and YouTube and everything like that. So we appreciate everybody watching.
What's Jam in the Van's Instagram again?
At Jam in the Van.
How are we supposed to remember that?
All right, let's get into the battles this week. We're going to start with number 5. This is another one from our Austin event. Now, last week, Austin took the number 1 spot. This week, they come in at number 5. This is a Bay Area comic named Marty Cunny, who was in town and was going up against John Heft, Austin's own John Heft. So that's the number 5 battle this week. Marty Cunny, John Heft from Austin. Here it is.
Pretty happy to be battling the area nightmare over here. If Hitler would have seen you, he would have had second thoughts. Could have saved 6 million, well, allegedly 6 million lives.
Nice. Guys, Marty looks like he asked for her dad's blessing before beating his girlfriend.
That's the Texas way. It's a little weird. I did to say the whole gay thing, but I am a little turned on right now because I'm not gay, but I'm Irish, and this guy looks like a sack of potatoes.
It's a pretty hot sack of potatoes, dude, if you fucking ask me.
Flaming hot.
Guys, Marty looks like every time the waiter brings him the wrong food, he looks at him and says, "Why I oughta."
I gotta have a better joke than that. Why you look like an Asian guy going undercover as a white guy. He looks like Shane Gillis.
Guys, Marty has a lot of firemen in his family, and you can tell because even his hairline is a controlled burn.
That's rich coming from this fucking hot air balloon I got up here. It's fucking... Holy shit. Man. Give it up for the autistic Easter Bunny up here. So glad he could make it tonight. It looks like if the Easter Bunny only gave out eggs with roofies in them. It looks like a before picture at an orthodontist office.
Marty looks like if Disney designed Mario so that the gays would like him.
It's the me. John, you fucking blobfish. You look like you have every recessive gene in the human genome. I'm surprised you don't have a fucking tail. You look like every kid's gonna look like in East Palestine, Ohio in 10 years.
Marty looks like the number he calls for legal advice is 444-444 head.
I'm sure hope that was a local reference.
So there it is, number 5 this week. Marty Cunny and John Heft from Austin, our big event at the Comedy Mothership. We'll be returning to Austin, by the way, May 28th, back in the main room of the Mothership down in Austin. So if you're around there, check out comedymothership.com, I believe, for tickets. You got Google. Figure it out. What did you think of the battle? Start us off.
That was a great first battle. They had a solid rapport. Excuse me. I think the sack of potatoes joke from Marty is really strong. He was really good with some of the visual stuff. Asian guy undercover.
So good.
Every kid in East Palestine in 10 years. Great, topical, fantastic work. John Heft, the Dad's Blessing, his opener. Dad's Blessing beating his girlfriend. Control burn hairline. Feel that one. I feel that one personally.
Oh, yeah. That one hits a little close to home.
And the Mario...
Design him so the gays would like him.
Oh my, incredible.
Yeah.
Do we pick who we thought?
No,
won
I don't think
the
it
battle?
particularly matters. You can if you want.
It was very even. It really could have
Yeah.
gone either way. I think Marty maybe snuck it out because that last joke didn't hit
Yeah.
of John's, but it could have gone either way.
It was Marty. I judged that one, and I thought they were both outstanding. A little bit of the. I think the observation I made was like the forehead joke at the end didn't work because A, I don't think people got the reference. I didn't. But B, it's like they had the same forehead. Like
True.
They both
Yeah,
had
yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
forehead.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it didn't hit. But like there were way more hits than misses in that one. And one thing you brought up is like it seemed like there was a good rapport. We always run into this thing where it's like two people from different cities, they've never met. Like, will it feel awkward or weird or whatever? And that one didn't.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's. I think so much of this is like, how quickly can I get to like know you up there on stage or have a sense of that, right? Because really what people want to see is people busting balls in their backyard. Like they want that sense of like these two people know each other. And as soon as you bring that like friendship, like of course it's the overused trope, we roast the ones we love.
Yeah.
But having that underlying bit of like familiarity, love, friendship, whatever it is, puts a bed of for the joke to rest on and get fucked or whatever,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
shout out to Marty, by the way, for battling with a busted leg.
Oh yeah,
To come up there
Willis
like, on a
Reed out
fucking
there.
razor scooter, just like, and is that a thing where if you're John Heft and you don't know who this guy is, you just kind of met him, you exchanged info presumably, and then he rolls up like that. You gotta write something about that, right?
Have something for it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For it to just go, and I didn't dock points because of it, but I was like, man, I don't know how you're not doing something there.
And look, we love to be able to like do shit off the dome, right? Like it's great when but My guess is he saw him there for about an hour before the show.
Yeah, have an hour
didn't
and
go,
some change.
Yeah. Oh, let me think of something to throw at him on this.
Right.
But no, all around though.
Regardless, great battle, great event. Looking forward to going back there. Great crowds, everything. We gotta, we've talked on the podcast before about how my previous experience with South by Southwest with Austin was South by Southwest.
Yeah, hate it.
I'm here to tell you, as somebody who had a similar experience to me at South by, it's way, way, way better if the festival's not in town. You got to get down there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we are also expanding the roast battles down there. Weekly ones are going to be running at the Sunset Strip Comedy Club, which is also on 6th Street. So exciting stuff out of Austin. Now, let's bring a little international flavor. The last couple weeks, the show has been very domestic, been very U.S. We have a heavy dose of international battles, and we start them this week with the number 4 battle. This comes from Barcelona, and it's an interesting kind of backstory. So Marnie Manning is one of their more established battlers. It's a new scene, but she's widely regarded as the best. Last month, they had a Barcelona versus London event, and they put her against the London champion, Ken Grinnell. And he went over there, and we talked to Frank Castillo about it, who was actually judging that, and Ken made a couple of strategic missteps. And the end result was Marnie pretty much decimating the London champion. So she was already up here. Her stock gets elevated that much more. And on the next event, she goes up against a Mexican gentleman named Hector Ayala, who I believe had never battled before. And that is what's great about Roast Battle. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. It's a little bit of foreshadowing. Sorry to spoil the battle, but I think you're going to like it anyway. This is the number 4 battle this week.
Marnie's going to get fucked up, huh?
No, nobody gets fucked up. It's a good competitive battle, but this is very much Russia versus the U.S. in the 1980 Olympics.
I'm Team Marnie. I don't fucking care. I'm Team Marnie. I like a name with alliteration.
It's a good one. Yeah. Marnie Manning versus Hector Ayala, number 4. Here it is.
Battle! 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 Battle!
Hello, you guys. My wonderful friend Hector. Hello. You guys. Just his name? That's it? Okay. My good friend Hector here. I love him, but he has quit every single job that he's ever had, which as an American makes me think that they don't work as hard as we think they do. And I know that joke is racist, I know. And I know it hits below the belt. But below the belt is exactly how tall Hector and I both are.
Ay, pinche Marnie. I was preparing for a Chihuahua, but you went full Texan with that joke, eh? No, I also love Marnie. I'm really proud of her achievements. She got a job doing bike tours. Congratulations on the step up, Marnie. Congratulations from being the town's bike to actually riding the town's bike. It took me a while because Marnie used to get around so much. I thought Manning was her favorite hobby and not her last name.
Wow.
I'm like a bee sting, baby. You only get me for 30 minutes. And then you gotta drop me off at another part of town.
Another one.
I wanna compare Hector to a famous Mexican, Frida Kahlo. Yeah, they both got a mustache, and they're both narcissists with rich parents. The thing that makes Hector not like Frida Kahlo is that only in my dreams was Hector hit by a bus and has polio. Google it.
Ay, Frida Kahlo. What an icon, Frida Kahlo. Like, talking about Frida Kahlo, Marnie has a Frida Kahlo tattoo.
I do.
Yeah, she does. That's known as the Mexican tramp stamp. So congratulations, Marnie. You're basic on both sides of the border.
At least they let me on both sides. All right.
We dig tunnels, guys.
Oh, that's why you look like a little mole. I don't know. I think, Hector, tonight in your t-shirt and your chain, you look like Dwayne The Rock Johnson's little brother, Pebble. No, you kind of remind me of a bulldog because you're like 50% shoulders and you'll sniff anyone's feet. But with all the protein powder and all of the like bullshit that he puts out there with his poetry, I think Hector. That was enough.
That's a slow burn.
I don't know. I think Hector should start his own podcast. We could call it the Jose Rogan Experience.
Was that a roast? Because I'm usually mistaken for the Globo driver outside restaurants. Marnie, she has a thing for skaters before she was married. She liked skaters a lot. She hung around Macba, got around a lot with skaters. I think she was known as the skateboard because she likes to be kicked around when she's in all fours and to grind on really dirty long pipes.
Wow.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wax on, wax off. I don't know. Hector is super giving. Like lately, he's given it all for free. Like he's putting out all his content. He shares content online the same way he shares his heart. No one likes it. There's also a low probability for engagement. All right.
I'm looking for babe. Marnie is married to a Catalan. That's it, that's the joke. Not even a Mexican is that desperate for papers, guys. But that's okay, you might do a favor. If you have kids with your husband, you can recreate the Alamo. You know, get Barcelona independence, Catalonia independence, call it the Catalamo.
All right, either way, you're kicked out. Oh, you guys. So Hector, he's a true ally. Like he has tons of friends in the queer community. His brother is gay. It shocked his parents. They were like, "Wait, really? Not 2 out of 3?" So Hector's never come out of the closet, but tonight, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, Hector will be coming out of the dryer. Oh my God, how long have you been in there? You went in with your clothes and everything. You're just all wrinkly, you old piece of shit. I love you.
Love you too, Marnie. Last joke. Ay, cabrón. I used my last joke before because you used that Frida Kahlo shit. No. Okay. I have to say, after moving to Spain, Marnie had sex with despicable men. She got beat by a dog fiercely, and she married a Catalan for papers. I can't believe this gringa had much more of a Mexican experience in Europe than I did.
Okay, so we just watched the battle. I think it's typical of some of our newer international cities where I think there's a lot of gems. You just got to kind of do some digging, and you got to work around like sort of the I don't want to say lack of understanding, but it's just kind of different out there how long the jokes are kind of allowed to be, how many swings you're allowed to take at the ball before getting ruled out. You know what I mean? And there are definitely some hits in there along with some misses. But I really like that battle. I thought it was good. Now, I know you took exception with kind of how I set it up.
I thought that Marnie won. And that's not just because I fucking took her side before watching it.
Yeah.
I actually remember, I think Marnie was on the show the last time I hosted. And
Okay.
she's really funny. She's really good. And I thought top to bottom, let's see.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff written under Marnie and not nearly as much under Hector.
Yeah, there was below the belt joke. There was her comeback on At Least They Let Me on Both Sides of the Border. She's so present.
Yep.
And I know you're a big scorer on like the jokes only, right? Like
No, I give that points for sure.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
Would you give it equal points as to to a scripted joke? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they both scored big on that exchange for me because
Yeah.
I thought his joke was really, really good, and then her off the cuff rebuttal was excellent as well.
yeah, he had basic on both sides of the border, which was great joke. And her sidecarring, like it's sometimes you can have a rebuttal that goes straight back at them, and then sometimes like Paige Wesley is the best at this, I think, at sidecarring your joke. Like if you hit Paige you can't like hit her because she's kind of just taking your joke and then she's going to ride that energy with a tag of her own that just kind of like sometimes leaves your, leaves your joke a little moot because she's like in a good way. Like it.
Well, I mean, this is something I think philosophically we are a little bit different on this because I judge the LA versus Chicago Jam in the Van, and Chicago has a guy, Adam Quasilo, who is very, very funny, and he's a heavy guy, and he would take every fat joke and tag it with a self-deprecating thing to, I think, try to diffuse it. But for me, in roast battle, anything you're saying that's not directed at insulting your opponent, I not only don't give points for, I think I subconsciously even subtract points a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because, when Marnie said 30 minutes, they have to drop me off 30 minutes, like one of those bikes that you rent. I was like, oh, that's what you do in that situation. If there's not a direct, like, how about fuck you, like, come back, you do that. And I thought it was great.
It was funny. It was effective. Yeah. It worked. I'm just talking about, like, me personally, my preference is if you don't have something to insult the other person, you let them get their laugh, you laugh at it too, and then you tell your joke.
I think half of it, I score for presence on stage too, and just overall laughs. So if she gets a laugh on it, that counts as points to me.
Got it.
And I think that's what they're really good at over there, and it might be because of the length of the battles, but they let their personality come out.
I agree with that.
Hector reminded me very much of that guy from Suddenly Susan. I was like, look at him, he's back. That's just for me. You know what?
Yeah,
I've been crying all fucking day. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Man, you think I turned 40 and all of a sudden I'm a Suddenly Susan fan?
Bro, you're the
I've only been 40 for like
only
14
one listening
hours.
who will get that reference. You're 40.
No, so you had Marnie winning. I thought it was a close battle. The judges did edge it to Hector. I think it's a cool story simply because of kind of their backgrounds and the fact that it was even close, but I get the impression you don't even think it was that close.
I didn't think it was that close.
You had Marnie by a considerable margin.
Yeah. Okay. But I kind of want to rewatch it just because I'm like, am I crazy? But
Well, do it on your own time.
and like some of the jokes got a little loose at the end.
Sure.
They weren't quite as tight, and but I thought Marnie was getting more bang for her buck.
Okay. Well, she is. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of her. She's one of the. Go ahead.
Both very good though. Like
very
they both
good.
had wonderful stage presence, good jokes, and like fun battle.
Absolutely, I agree. And good chemistry. I was a little bit worried at the very beginning. There was some serious improv energy happening at the very beginning when the host was chanting battle and they were doing their like sharks and the jets kind of snapping in the background. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, that's
dude.
some shit I would do, and then be like, what?
Yeah.
How did I get myself into this?
Yeah, I almost turned the battle off. I was like, this won't be good. But it was good. And in a jam-packed week, and the top three we're going to get to in a minute are just all outstanding in my book. But we had great entries from other cities that didn't make it this week. Julian Fernandez and Guam Felix from the Belly Room was awesome, did not make the cut. Joshua Lampley and Talon Harris in New York. We had Daniel Shaw and Sebastian Fazio from Toronto. A lot of really, really good battles. The competition is getting tougher and tougher every week. And to get anywhere on the 5 is impressive. But now we get to the top 3. Now, any one of these could have been number 1. This was a really, really tough call.
Yeah.
I had to send them to you to get your... I usually don't do that if somebody's co-host and I want them to see it here for the first time. but I just had no idea kind of what to do.
I was blown away, and it was tough. It was tough. You needed it. I would have asked for a second opinion too.
Yeah,
yeah, they're
absolutely.
really good.
So let's start with the number 3 battle this week. This came from up in the Bay Area. They ran another show at Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco, and it was headlined by Bay Area champion Ashley Monique going up against a roast battle LA favorite, one of our friends, someone we've both battled, Paige Wesley, who you've seen on the show about 1,000 times by now. Probably the most prolific, prominent battler we've featured. She had another excellent battle, and it's number 3 this week. Paige versus Ashley. Here it is.
Ashley looks like she wants to teach me math through hip-hop.
Paige is such a true crime fan that she dresses like a body wrapped in a curtain.
Like a shower curtain, too. Like, that's exactly... There you go. Thank you. Ashley is so boring. How boring is she? Ashley's so boring that doctors recommend not driving or operating heavy machinery when she talks.
Paige believes in God. She believes in things that she can't see or feel, which is how she knows she has feet.
It's also how I know you got tits in there somewhere. I feel bad for that, because every battle I watched of yours, people made fun of your tits. I promised myself I wouldn't do it, because they're not even in the room.
Paige is a very successful stand-up comedian. She regularly opens up for Jeff Ross, and she also sometimes performs stand-up with him.
Oh, man. Ashley looks like she rolls her R's at Taco Bell.
Paige is straight edge. She doesn't do any drugs. The only time she gets high is when she floats through the air when a pie's on a windowsill.
That's true. I'm fat. Ashley's bisexual, so we both enjoy a seafood buffet.
Paige is a big Black Lives Matter supporter, because if police keep killing black men, who's gonna fuck her?
Ashley is mixed. Her mom is from Panama, and her dad is, I guess, a bottle of Ambien.
My mom is from Panama, home with a canal. They don't let Paige around canals anymore ever since she destroyed her mom's.
That's fair. That's fair. I am fat, but you have a pro-life hip with a pro-choice face.
All right, so outstanding battle. One of the best I've ever seen filmed on a Nokia 5200. They changed the faceplate right before the battle. Somebody got done playing the snake game, and then they hit record. Josh Means, I know you're watching this. Get a camera that was invented sometime after like 1987, please. Battles are too good. The Bay is putting on amazing battles. We got to get a little bit better footage.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
But they overcame that. I mean, my God. It was just so good.
Yeah. For this to look like an early YouTube fucking, rap battle, the quality, but still to come across like it really does. It's a testament to how great of performers they are and how great the jokes were. And Ashley Monique has really turned, she kind of skyrocketed to the top of the roast battle scene, just by working her ass off and writing great jokes. And that's what she does, and she delivers every time. And Paige Wesley is just one of the greatest roast battlers on the planet, in my opinion. Yeah. And those two together, obviously, if you put those two names together, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's a shoe-in, right? But you never know. Sometimes I've seen two great battlers throw up a stinker. It happens sometimes. But it was just top to bottom, so much fun. True crime shower curtain, unbelievable joke. Tits Not Even in the Room from Paige is a comeback. She's the queen of comebacks, I think. Rolls Her R's from at Taco Bell from Paige. Pro-life, pro-choice.
That's one that was the only one where I'm like, damn, with a better camera. Because I want everybody to like see that. Visual jokes like that. It's so good.
Well,
that joke's outstanding.
Especially when you can really see the person's reaction. If you're talking, that's what's so fun about like a looks like joke, or when you can see somebody's reaction to what you're saying on something like that. It's always so fun. Pie on the Windowsill from Ashley Monique. The police joke and like
who's gonna fuck
you? Yeah. Incredible. Just and like to have that as the number 3 battle of the week.
Right.
It speaks volumes about what's coming.
And I think the juxtaposition of having that right after Barcelona, where they're still doing the more like the meandering, 5-joke battle takes 6 or 7 minutes, and then to get to 2 pros who are just like punch the entire time.
Yeah.
Just Hagler and Hearns throwing fucking knockout shots.
Yep.
From the opening bell. I thought it was great. I can't call a winner based off of that. I know Ashley did take the battle. I'm not mad at that. But,
No.
I mean, it was just really, really good. And sometimes when you've done so many, I think we can all like get to a point where we stop appreciating kind of like our own performance. And I know Paige, after it happened, was not super high on the battle. Her and I talked, and she said, it was okay. And I don't feel like she had like the best time up there and everything. And I was like, oh, it must have gone poorly. And I watched it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that was incredible.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that like sometimes you might not feel like you're pitching your best baseball, but you're still pitching pretty fucking good baseball. Like, and just because you didn't feel it doesn't mean you didn't have a hell of a game.
Right. It's like Nolan Ryan throwing 98. In his head, he's like, oh, you fucking
you
loser.
Bum.
You loser. Everybody else on the field is like, I couldn't even see that shit. That was incredible.
Yeah.
So who did you have? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Ooh, tough. I think I had Ashley by it just a hair.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. But it really could have gone either way. I would have been fine.
I thought it was great. I think Ashley had maybe my 2 favorite jokes of the battle. I deduct points for the open for Jeff Ross, just because that exact sort of thing has been done a bunch. And, Sarah and I talk about it on the podcast all the time. We've seen 10,000 battles, and not everybody has.
Right.
So they might not know, but, the whole thing of like, you opened for him, and you also did comedy before he did. Like, seen that one before. The only strike in an otherwise flawless performance.
Right. And to be clear, that's not a stolen joke situation.
No.
That is just a haven't heard it yet. And like good comics are going to run over some of the same ground at some point. She hit a thing that does work. But like just hasn't seen it yet. So like that's the only.
To be very clear, I tend to believe that there is very little theft going on in the way of roast battle, especially when there's accountability. We're filming this shit, we're putting it out, we're discussing it and everything. I don't think anybody would steal. I just think it's common treaded ground.
We've both had it where like I would like show you a joke, be like, "What do you think of this?" And you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I told that." And then you've done the same to me, where I was like, "Oh yeah, I told that. We've already that ground's been
100%. It happens, and it's not a criticism of like to where I think somebody's stealing. It is if you are writing a joke that I've heard 100 times before, I have to take points off because it's obviously not the most creative kind of joke. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, but I wouldn't accuse anybody of stealing. You would have really enjoyed last week though. Because I was talking to Digits. Digits is very adamant that Chicago is stealing his jokes. And then he had a clip posted on Instagram. And
are they kneeling in Chicago a
lot? And then he had a clip posted. And I kept telling him, I'm like, dude, they're not. It's one joke. And I'm like, they didn't steal it. It's just parallel thinking.
Totally.
And then he did a joke, and it got posted online. And a few people were like, hey, Matthew Broussard did that joke on TV. And Digits is like, well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, then how? Maybe that's the same case with Chicago. He's like, nah, fool, that's different. That's different. They knew. But yeah, I don't think anybody's stealing anything.
No, agreed.
But outstanding battle. I think even with that, I would still give the slightest of edges to Ashley because she had my two favorite jokes of the battle. I thought Paige was outstanding, but the true crime joke I thought was really creative and funny.
Yep.
And then the police shooting joke I thought was great too.
And that's one of those things that highlights it. Like that joke, you go, oh, this is a really, really talented joke writer. That when you're thinking that interestingly, you come up with a joke where I'm like, oh man, how did I not come up with that when I battled?
Absolutely.
And you go, ah, shit. And that's why when you go like, you see like the Jeff Ross joke, you go, oh no, because like this is what you do. You are the true crime shower curtain joke. Like that's where your level is at.
Yeah.
And so,
and it is. I thought Ashley did a really good job for the most part of circumnavigating the fat jokes. Because like Paige is just waiting for an opportunity to be like, it's true, I'm fat. And she didn't get to do it till almost the end of the battle because Ashley was sort of disguising the packaging of them to not be like, Paige is so fat, blah, 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 blah. And, to me, like, to create the visual of like the pies on the windowsill was just so like masterfully done.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is, if you don't use some of the words like fat, blah, 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 it's harder to take that and have a rebuttal that, you got to kind of use more leverage to get it there. And sometimes it can feel a little unnatural.
Yeah.
If it's disguised in the way that Ashley did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So great stuff. Paige Wesley is a hero of mine, just going from city to city and just taking on their best and putting on incredible performances literally every time. So.
Agreed.
Let's move on now to number 2. Now, this battle comes to us from London, and it features a guy I alluded to a little bit earlier, the London champ, Ken Grinnell. We talked about his last battle was when he went to Barcelona. Things went a little bit sideways. This is his first battle back in England since that happened, and he's going against a guy named Nick Byard. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We haven't seen him on the podcast yet, but this battle is outstanding. From London, this is Ken versus Nick, and it's number 2 this week. Here it is.
Hello, it's good to meet you, Ken. I always wondered what Jason Momoa would look like if he was a 2 out of 10. Ken works as a chef, which is ironic because he simultaneously looks overweight and malnourished at the same time.
It's true. Nick looks like he says thank you after being rejected. We all know.
Ken was flown to LA by Roast Battle, not for comedy, they just thought he'd fit in there with all the homeless people.
Says the guy in the tweed jacket. Well, alright, so the women in Nick's office asked for a gender pay gap. They don't even want to be close to him financially.
Depressed Fidel Castro. Ken studied animation at university. He now works as a chef. His friends call him the reverse Ratatouille.
At least I have friends. So Nick used to debate a lot. Topics like, why don't you find me attractive? Are you sure you don't find me attractive? And is it cool if I watch?
Thank you, Chairman Mao, crossed with the walrus. Ken has 18 siblings. He works as a chef. The only thing more chafed than his hands after working a stove all day is his mum's vagina.
It's true, man. Some women enjoy sex, a fact you will never find out.
Ken looks
That's my joke, Yeah. I thought nerds were meant to be good at counting. So Nick has really bad eyesight. This is the only reason he hasn't killed himself.
Thank you, Heston Blumenfeld. Ken looks unemployed and homeless. I'd throw him a £5, but he'd only spend it on moisturising cream for his mum's chafed vagina.
It was one Mother's Day, Jesus. So Nick is a bad social activist. 5 minutes in his company and you'll pray for police to kneel on your neck.
That was a man on a mission. No, I mean, no disrespect to Nick. It's my first time seeing Nick. Nick had some outstanding jokes. I want to see more of Nick. But Ken, coming off of that loss, you go to another country and the crowd turns on you. Not just you lost, but the crowd turns on you. And then you come back. The next time you get on stage, he just had that fucking, like a shark smelling blood in the water.
You know you're like in the pocket when you can give a little wiggle.
I missed the wiggle.
Oh, yeah. There was a little like...
Ken hit the wiggle?
Yeah.
Wow. Wiggled on him.
But, yeah, really, really fantastic battle by both. This was like a styles make fights battle, you know? It was so fun. It's such a fun, interesting stage picture. It's fun seeing these two from who would appear to be from different worlds and watching them fucking do battle. Like, thank you after being rejected. Incredible. Like when you really see somebody and can get through the multiple levels of whatever in a heartbeat with a joke, it's so much fun. And the gender pay gap women don't even want to live financially. One of the better jokes I've heard in a long time. That's like a next level joke.
Yep.
Nick was really funny with the Jason Momoa 2 out of 10 was really funny right out of the bat. Reverse Ratatouille, really smart joke. And I love a double down on the mom's vagina.
Sure,
joke.
yeah.
It's gonna be funny to me every single time. But Ken actually was great off the cuff with he defended his mom with the perfect sidecar joke.
Yeah.
That's the perfect sidecar joke. That's when it works the best. Like right there is, sorry, somebody who enjoys sex, something like that. And it was so. Really
but that's what I mean, where he was able to take that joke and morph it into a thing where he was also making fun of his opponent.
That's true.
That's
it is
the
a little
key
different.
to me.
He did, He did swing it back at.
Yeah. I mean, I just a couple things here that were really impressive from Ken. We talk on this podcast a lot about chemistry, right? And how if they're friends, it almost always makes for a better battle, right? Ken has a little 2015, 2016 Pat Barker in him. And we actually cut the video off before... At the end, before the host comes back, after Ken hits his last joke, he does the patented Pat Barker throat
I used to
slice.
hate that shit. You do.
Yeah, because I did it to you one time.
Yeah, and bullshit, bunch of horse shit. What a fucking horse shit battle.
If you could convince the crowd, you won. That's all that matters. But no, and he was very much like he didn't laugh at his opponent's jokes. He wasn't up there to have fun with his friend. He was up there to eviscerate somebody, and that can be hard to pull off. You really need A+ jokes, I feel like, to pull that off.
Yes, and I think because they were so different, the stage, like, it was so visually kind of like interesting watching these two guys, and because it can, if the person that you're battling isn't sort of physically and energetically hitting the ball back to you, it can feel like it's falling on deaf ears, and the audience can sometimes kind of feel that way too. But with this, it didn't matter. He just had.
And I think one reason it didn't matter was because of the subject matter of Ken's jokes. And let me explain what I mean by that. I think a lot of people would go in battling that guy, and they would Google nerdy celebrities with glasses, right? And they'd find like the kid from Jerry Maguire, They'd be like Jonathan Lipnicki, Jonathan Dipshitty, and then they'd be like, "Thank you, Jonathan Dipshit," and it's
Banger.
like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, banger.
But you know that's what we've seen that how many times?
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
They just Google like people with glasses and they go from there. Ken's jokes were all just like, this guy is a fucking loser. This guy has nothing going. Nobody respects him. Nobody wants to spend time with him. He doesn't have friends. He will never know the affection of a woman's touch. He will never know true love because he is a loser who's not worthy of those things.
Yes.
And he did it in such a way where it's like he just came up there and like again was just cold-blooded and had the material to kind of match, but the jokes were so good.
It was like on theme. It was on theme with his jokes.
Yeah.
And I think it might have helped too that, you know, there's something about when you're calling somebody else like homeless and like 2 out of 10 and stuff like that, that it did even it up a little bit for like if Nick had come with a different angle and not sort of brought him down.
Yeah.
I think maybe that energy wouldn't have worked as well.
Oh,
But
dude, I always, if I go in with like a particularly vicious joke, it's like, I really hope I get to say this after they do something fucked up to me first.
yes.
You almost want like a little bit of the moral high ground, or at the very least, you don't want to seem like you're being like extra, like bully. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can lose an audience on that.
Sure.
Sometimes that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
You'll catch one where they're like,
Oh,
yeah,
they were
more,
there for that.
more blood.
They were there for that.
But sometimes they're like, too mean. We don't want to hear about, you know, a dead fucking,
Right.
whatever.
I know. The other thing that I have to point out is London's been in the league for, you know, over a year now. We've been watching their battles. And I wouldn't say this one is necessarily indicative of how they're all trending or whatever, but it was really nice to see an international battle from a scene that was once so noteworthy for the long jokes. What we saw out of Barcelona earlier when it was like a newer roast battle kind of scene where they would do the long jokes and longer and not necessarily better, tagging on a couple of things that diminishing returns. To go to this battle where it was just American style punch. Outstanding.
Yeah, I think that when it's streamlined, it is often that's the best version of it, you know, when it is about the jokes, and then you can I mean, they did have a lot of fun back and forth. I think when you can sandwich a great joke will buy you time in between the next joke to have that interaction and like have a repartee in between the joke because you're getting a laugh. Then then they want to address that because they just got hit so fucking hard they almost have to. It's like, oh, if I don't say something right now, I might be down for the count. And it's almost like you have to just to stay on your feet. And then boom, they can take all of that energy and get an even bigger laugh because now the audience is riding that laugh. And then if you can hit with a comeback on a giant laugh that they just got, the audience loses their fucking mind. They can't believe that it happened. I do wonder, tell me what you think about this.
Yeah.
If they have a little bit more leeway to do that because they have their jokes written. You know what I mean? They're very good like at some of the
What do you mean, on the paper?
Yeah, at being present in between jokes.
Sure.
Which I think is key to like being like a top tier battler is to be able to hear what the other person is saying and all of that shit and be present. But I wonder if there is a little benefit to that, not from the stage, not from like the performance aspect, but from the ability to sort of not live in.
You're saying they feel more comfortable because they have the safety net nearby?
Yes, and they don't necessarily have to be like, I am 100% memorized, and if I fuck up a word, I'm going to fuck up this battle.
That very well could be. I think that there's a balancing act to be done because one of the comments we get so often on the internet, and we hear you guys, but I can't fly to fucking Europe and bully somebody into not using their phone on stage. But they hear your comments. We see a lot of comments online when people are on their phones, right? So I think there's a middle ground between being 100% memorized and having everything on your phone. I know when I battle, I'll write down 1 or 2 words per joke, put it on a little paper, put the paper on a stool, just so I can have it there and glance over during an opponent's joke or something like that.
I go back pocket.
Yeah, it's important to have that there. Those guys had their jokes written down, but they weren't reading off the paper.
Sure.
Which I think is totally fine.
Yeah. It didn't visually bother me. Like I
Right.
wasn't like these guys are. Yeah.
But maybe that does allow a little bit more comfort because I think the thing that all of us are afraid of is forgetting our joke.
Yeah.
And if you have it right there, maybe that helps.
I think too. There's something to like if you're gonna do it, have it on like cards, like they did. When somebody's like looking at their fucking hand and they're like, and you can see. I think sometimes that can get a little bit distracting, or it's like I'm totally mangled. Like I liked it was a little bit that it was like, and next, almost like a late show.
Yeah, I get that, and I think the important thing is those guys both probably ran their jokes 100 times and memorized them. The cards were there in case of emergency. The cards were not there because they were necessary. You know what I mean? And we see so many battles where there's people reading off the phone and it's very clear that they have never said that joke out loud.
Yeah.
They wrote it on the train on the way over or whatever. Yeah. So I think that this battle was outstanding. I think Ken Grinnell is a top 10 battler in the world right now. It's hard to deny that. We flew him out here on Halloween to battle Derek Humphreys from New York. He was insanely good in the main room of the Comedy Store. He keeps winning over there. He's just a top tier battler for me.
Yeah. This was my first time seeing him, and it seems pretty clear.
Yeah, and London, frankly, and we'll be looking at the standings before we get out of here, but London has been dominating the international ranks, and they put up 4 more points today with a second-place battle. However, they did not get the top international battle of the week. The top international and overall battle of the week is our first representation from Australia. Now, Australia doesn't run nearly as frequently as some of the other cities. They just had their first event of the season, which started in March. Australia went a full month without an event, without any battles to show. They crowned a champion. Her name is Christy Carr. Congratulations to Christy. And they sent me a bunch of battles, and I said, you gotta give me one. What's the first one I should watch? And they said, you gotta watch, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Fatty Kassab versus Dave Henningham. And I sat down to watch it, and I had already watched the Bay and London, and I was like, man, I had them so close. But I was like, they're 1-2 in whatever order.
Yeah.
And then I watched Australia, and I was like, I don't know what to even do right now. That's when I had to call you because I was like, I have no idea where to put this. It's so different than the battles we just saw.
Yeah.
But it is insanely good. So this is the number 1 battle this week. The first time we've seen them on the show. Australia, this is Fatty Kassab versus Dave Henningham. Here it is.
Thank you. Fatty recently began living his dream of performing stand-up comedy. His wife also began living her dream of leaving him and taking the kids.
She actually left the kids with me. As you may have noticed, Dave doesn't look good. He hasn't really looked great ever since he stole the ring of Frodo and the fires of I'll leave it there, actually. That's a little, okay.
Never mentioned Fatty say I don't look good. Fatty, you're getting so fat we should stop calling you Fatty Poobah. Fatty, you sound Bill is No, they're not gonna get any better. Fatty is so old. Are any of you curious to know how old Fatty is? Fatty is so old that when he left the Middle East, the Dead Sea was just getting sick.
The Dead Sea is very salty from the tears of all the crusaders who came on. Anyway.
That's my interpretation. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, great job. Dave works with kids with learning difficulties. Isn't that sweet? He said to me, Fatty, it is so gratifying to work with those fucktards. I said, Dave, Kegschwant to no one.
Actually, my expertise with Pop-Tarts is why they let me roast Fatty tonight. Jokes were like, Fatty likes his jokes like he likes his women. 20 years old and available on the internet.
Dave is the Mark Lanigan of the Sydney comedy scene. Exactly. They missed it. Should I do it again? They missed it. The judges missed it. They're not gonna get the result. Said he's the Mark Lanigan of the Sydney comedy scene.
Then I said who?
Exactly. It was Mark Lanigan. That's the joke. I better get points for this, you attentions.
Fatty sure loves the ladies, he just doesn't think they should vote or drive. I didn't say he likes the ladies a bit young. He likes to date women so young that they could be his daughter. Seriously, they could be his daughter. He has no idea what she looks like anymore.
I know. Dave is not good in bed. He recently bought his girlfriend a Lego set. Not because she's 15, but because because that way she will have something in her life that's a choking hazard.
I have a very rectangular penis. Despite how he looks, Fatty, talking about sex and things, he did not actually refuse to go down on his wife at any point. He just deliberately did a bad enough job that the next time she just got a new boyfriend to do it.
Dave has cancer. Sydney, he reminds me of Vodafone. He's cheap, unreliable, doesn't work in the country. And just like Vodafone, he's not funny. I know.
Fatty is Lebanese, I don't know if that's come up. Fatty actually missed out on a part, just barely missed out on a part in Fat Pizza, but he did get cast in a show called Fat Piece of Shit.
Very choppy. Very, very, very bad. Someone put salt in sweet bits or something. It's not happening.
Yeah, you're fucking wavering, brother.
Shush. All of you.
Just find the hate in your heart. Stop looking at your phone.
You know what? I don't trust it. The thing is, your joke writing reminds me of September 11. Because it's a disaster, it's painful, and I feel someone else did it.
Fucking rich Fatty making fun of me for helping, like, getting help with jokes when you have to get dudes to help fuck your wife. Fatty is a big fan of 9/11, even up to 12 years old. The only difference between Fatty and Jeffrey Epstein is we're all definitely going to believe it when Fatty kills himself.
scraping the bottom of the. It's like his dating life. You know what I mean? It's like it's getting desperate now. Okay. Dave likes his women like he likes his yogurt, white, full fat, and smelling of his dick. That's it.
Ooh-wee. That was a good old fashioned slobber knocker.
It was, dude. I loved this is my first time. I saw Australia when they wanted to join the league. I had to watch a bunch of battles, but this is the first one recently that I've seen. I love, first and foremost, I love the crowd over there.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it up when jokes were good. They laughed uncontrollably, and when they didn't like jokes, they straight up booed them.
Yeah.
But they didn't let it carry over into the next thing. It's just like, hey, we love you, but fuck that joke.
Yeah. Very short memories, and then right back on board. Yeah.
I love that, because that's my fear about, like, oh, you don't want to encourage the crowd to boo because, like, then it gets, carried away or whatever. But they're just like, no, we'll boo you when you deserve it, and we'll go crazy when you deserve that.
It kind of worked because it like doesn't let the stink carry over. It's like, we've punished you for that joke, and now we'll move on. You know, like you've evened out the ledger. They're not like, well, now we don't trust you. It's like, well, we don't care. We booed at you. Now throw something else.
Yeah. Exactly. I love that. I love everything they were doing was great. I was laughing at setups.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The entire Dave has cancer. At least I think.
Big laugh.
At least I hope. He got 3 humongous laughs, and I'm not sure there's technically a punchline in that joke.
That's an execution joke, and it was executed perfectly.
If you sent me that joke on paper, I would be like, no, what?
Yes.
Don't ever do it. And he closed with it.
Yeah.
It was just, it was outstanding.
And
go ahead. You took a lot of notes. I want to hear your thoughts.
There's a lot of Gollum jokes that are told in Roast Battle. A lot of like Smeagol over the years.
Yeah.
That one was really well disguised. Like, you can still tell jokes that the Fires of Mordor. He never said Gollum. He never said the thing. If you can dance around it and let the audience make the connection, it's almost always a better joke. Mm-hmm. It seems like, as opposed to using the name, leading them there. I feel like joke writing a lot of times, especially with roasting, is how far can the audience get on their own, and how many dots can you connect that they can still get the work done in time to get the laugh.
And to offer the opposite perspective on that, as somebody who's never seen Lord of the Rings and only knows about 4 Lord of the Rings like buzzwords, it still worked for me because he used Frodo. So I understood. Sure. I know Frodo, I know Middle Earth, I know Gollum, and that's pretty much it. And even I, with my very limited knowledge, was able to connect those dots. So it was very accessible for everybody.
I also, the Dead Sea was just getting sick. Now, that's a joke that if I, is sort of I feel like in my wheelhouse of some stuff that I would,
it's
think
very
to write.
dad jokey.
But it's also one that I would question a little bit. Like, shit, is this going to eat it? Because it's a little dad joke. And it was a ballsy move, and it was so fun. It's so funny. I love that shit. That was a great joke. His 9/11 joke in overtime was really funny. That's a smart, 9/11, even up to 12. Such a fun play on, a 9/11 joke. Like, oh, you got there, you did, because we've heard every 9/11 joke in the book probably too, and I've never heard that joke. The Who joke from Fadi was, I thought, a really ballsy move. It ended up paying off because he's so good at just being present and joking and joking around in the moment.
You mean the one where he said he's the Dave
Lonergan or whatever? Yeah. And to get the Who, and you've got to you're requiring a second person to add into your joke. It's like a ballsy move. That could eat it. And I think it almost helped him that he had to explain it, because there was probably half of the audience that was like, wait, what happened?
Right, sure.
And then
and
luckily,
to be clear, was that a made up name?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I understood it right, and which I might not have. But But luckily, one of the judges asked for clarification too, and then it told it again, and it was like, "Oh, okay, now I'm on board."
Yeah.
Let's see, the Lego 15 joke,
choking hazard.
It was just I told you this earlier. This was like walking down the street and seeing two construction workers about to get into a fist fight, and then very quickly you find out they both boxed in the Olympics, and you're like, oh shit, I was not expecting this to be this good.
I kind of assume Australia is full of guys who look like that, have jokes like that, and can probably fist fight as well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was very. It was everything I would hope for out of Australia.
Yeah.
For their first representation on RBL Weekly, I was really blown away. And to be fair, that wasn't why it came in number one. You and I both had a very similar train of thought, and I didn't poison the well. I didn't tell you what I was thinking. I had London slightly ahead of the Bay, and then I didn't know how to compare Australia to the other two, but God, I just thought there was something when I'm laughing at setups and punchlines and little asides and like little hidden parts in the middle of the joke.
Yeah.
It's just kind of next level. And not to mention, by the way, it's a very hard assignment when you're going up against somebody that you look identical to.
Yes.
Because it's tough to do looks like jokes because it's like you both look like that. You know?
Yeah. And for some reason it worked. But yeah, they were using like subtle disguises, pauses, the way, top to bottom. It was when you can make a setup get a laugh like it's a punchline.
Yeah.
And even a multi-tiered setup, and you're getting multiple laughs on, like, you're doing something right. It was next level.
Absolutely. We don't often talk about the judging here or anything like that, but since we cut it out, you'll notice there were a couple of extra jokes at the end. The judges basically ruled regulation for Fatty, but decided that they were having so much fun that they wanted to do an overtime. Dave won the overtime pretty clearly, and then they said, all right, well, now we got to go to double overtime. And then they went to double overtime, and Dave won that. I think it's really important that we realize, all of us, that the winners and losers are kind of inconsequential. It's one of the reasons we don't show the decisions here, because the goal is to have an incredible battle. But put yourself in Fatty's shoes for a minute. All the judges agree you win in regulation, and you have to go to double overtime.
I believe we've been in this exact situation.
That's why you're the perfect person to be sitting in this
thank you
seat.
for that setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pat and I went triple burnout overtime years ago. They were like, how many jokes we hit the third overtime, and they were like, how many jokes do you have? And I'm like, a bunch. They were like, just go until you burn out.
Bunch. Yeah.
And but I had clearly won in regulation, and then we went to, they gave us a draw, which I am fine with. I still take the W in my heart, in my mind, but that was actually the time.
That's why it took him a decade to get a title shot.
Have you had a title shot?
Yeah, I lost.
What happened?
Fuck you. Go ahead.
And that was one where, like you were saying, you want somebody else to say the bad thing first, right? Because we had agreed that we had talked about it. We were like, look, I don't have any real plans on like making a miscarriage joke. And you were like, I don't have any real plans on making my brother passed away joke. But then we hit the burnout round, and of course we had written a couple just in case. And he hits me right when I'm about to run out of jokes. He hits me with a dead brother joke, and I go, "Oh my God, thank God! I needed to use this miscarriage joke."
What a fucked up sport we both play every week. But yeah, I mean, look, Fatty, in my mind, won the battle just based on the regulation. I thought he was just more consistent kind of the whole way through.
Agreed.
But again, wins and losses doesn't really matter.
Well, and this was also the battle where the two battlers clearly were having the most fun on stage. They were having a blast up there. And when that's the case, the audience comes along for the ride. And it was unbelievable joke writing, but when they're along like that in that way, that is sometimes when like the little things get punches because it's so natural. It's so in the moment. And I don't know. It's just a beautiful job.
Yeah. Outstanding work. Definitely excited to see more of Australia. They get a late start on the season, but come in week 1, week 6 overall, and put 5 points on the board. Let's take a look at the standings before we get out of here. And we'll start with the United States standings. Now, what you'll notice right here is just how close it is, how bunched together everybody is. As of this moment, Austin, by virtue of picking up a point today, ties New York atop the leaderboard. They have 10 apiece. And then right behind them, Chicago with 9, the Bay Area with 8, LA with 8, and then Denver a couple points back of them. The top 2 teams will make the playoffs. And at this point, I honestly have no idea how to call this race. I would like to think LA would be one of the teams, but we have yet to put up the big numbers in short bursts that Austin and Chicago have. New York's been really consistent. I ask every guest host who comes on, just based on what you've seen in battles, if you had to handicap this thing, you're picking 2 cities to make the playoffs based on everything you've seen, not just today, but I know you watch a lot of these battles.
Yeah.
What do you think? Who you got?
Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, I think their scene's incredible right now, and this is either Austin or New York, but probably Austin.
Here's what's going to happen. This season ends November 1st. When we get to August, if LA is still in 4th or 5th, it's all hands on deck. We got to go to the belly room. We got to go old school.
Done.
We got to have some battles of the week. We got to get some points on the board.
Done.
Got to get back in this thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Game on.
All right. Fantastic. And now let's look at the international standings before we get out of here. Working from the bottom up, Australia, 5 points in their debut today. Puts them right in the thick of things for that second spot. They're only 2 points behind Barcelona and Toronto, 3 points behind Scotland, who currently sits in second. And then London is just kind of running away with this thing. London has the most shows, the most opportunities to have incredible battles. A lot of these other cities are once every 2 weeks or every month. I think it's pretty safe to say that London is going to be one of the playoff teams. But if you had to sort of handicap this other one, who do you see taking that second spot?
Barcelona's putting out some really good, consistent battles, it seems like. So I would probably put Barcelona too.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go a little bit different. I'm gonna say Scotland or Australia. I've seen limited stuff from them, and if they can pump out more battles, they need more quantity, not more quality. We've done 2 Scotland battles on this podcast. They're the only 2 that I've been sent, and they were both outrageously good. I've now seen 1 Australia battle this season. Outrageously good. If they can find a way to just run shows a little bit more regularly and give us a little more content, and I don't want to judge the whole scene based on 1 or 2 battles. The rest of them might be terrible. I don't know. But I just have really positive first impressions of those 2 places, and I think they could make some noise internationally.
Yeah, it's exciting. A burgeoning new scene's always exciting.
Yeah.
Like somebody will bubble up, and people will start bubbling up in those scenes, and they're gonna, they'll give any big city a run for their money.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I
of course.
I hope
Thanks for having me.
Took your mind off of Love Lost for a minute.
Oh man, yeah, I'm done with that shit. I'm
Yeah.
good, dude. I'm good after this. And happy birthday, baby
Thank you,
boy!
man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
happy
that.
40, dude.
40 years old, still living my dream as the commissioner of a fake sport.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know. Here's to another 40 years. I hope when I'm 80, we're still doing this stupid podcast. I'm like, the number 1 battles we come from Jupiter, where
I'm not getting new balloons.
No, that's
this
fair.
is the last time.
That's fair. These look pretty sturdy. These will hold up.
Yeah.
These are quality balloons.
Yeah,
bro.
good
Sprung
balloons.
for the good shit.
Oh, my
All right, Doug Fager, thank you for joining us. We will be back next week with more RBL Weekly. See you guys then.